All right, so get ready for a deep dive
Mm.
that's going to take us all the way to Ireland.
Sounds good.
But this isn't just your typical potatoes and Guinness tour.
Right.
We're really going to go beyond those cliches today
Absolutely.
and discover what's really happening in Irish cuisine today.
I think it's an exciting time for Irish food.
Yeah.
It's really becoming a foodie destination.
Yeah, and to help guide us on this journey,
Okay.
we have the Love Ireland newsletter.
Wonderful.
And they've got articles and recipes that I think paint a really vivid picture
Yeah.
of what's happening over there.
I agree.
Now, I don't know about you,
Okay.
but when I travel,
Yeah.
I love to experience those classic dishes.
Mm.
You know, the ones that really define a place,
Yeah.
the tastes that transport you.
Oh, for sure.
Have you ever had that experience?
All the time.
Where a specific food
Yeah.
just takes you back to a certain time or place.
The food has that power, doesn't it?
It does.
To evoke memories and connect us to different places.
Absolutely. And what I find fascinating about Ireland
Yeah.
is this, they're holding on to those traditions,
Right.
but there's this exciting kind of new wave of culinary creativity coming up too.
Frizz.
So you have like innovative chefs,
Yeah.
local producers, and there's a real focus on fresh ingredients.
A big emphasis on that.
It's like they're taking the traditional flavors
Mm-hmm.
and they're giving them a modern twist.
Exactly. They're building upon it.
Yeah.
Not abandoning their heritage,
Right.
but incorporating new techniques and global influences.
Mm-hmm.
Staying true to their roots, though.
Yeah, it's a nice balance.
That's what makes it exciting.
It is. And speaking of balance,
Okay.
the newsletter has this really great travel tip of the day
All right.
from a member named Stanfield Judy.
Okay.
They say, and I quote, "Allow time in your day to pull over and enjoy the scenery. Take a stroll in a village. Explore an old castle ruins."
I love that.
Yeah,
That's a great tip.
it is.
And it really speaks to something crucial
Yeah.
about experiencing a place's cuisine.
Yeah.
It's not just about what's on your plate. It's about immersing yourself
Yeah.
in the culture,
Yeah.
the landscape,
Yeah.
the atmosphere.
Makes sense.
It all enhances the experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the newsletter also points out that while potatoes
Mm-hmm.
are definitely a staple
Of course.
in Irish cooking,
Yeah.
there's a whole world of flavors
Yeah.
beyond just those spuds.
So true.
They particularly call out the abundance of fresh seafood.
Right. And being an island nation,
Makes sense.
they have access to incredible seafood.
Yeah.
We're talking oysters,
Oh, nice.
salmon,
Yeah.
hearty fish stews.
Yeah.
Real bounty from the sea.
Oh, and you can't forget about Irish lamb.
Ah, that's true.
I hear it's some of the most flavorful in the world.
It is. Have you ever had it?
I have.
Yeah.
The way they prepare it,
Yeah.
often slow roasted or braised
Okay.
with local herbs,
Mm-hmm.
it's just melt in your mouth delicious.
Wow.
But what I found interesting in the newsletter
Okay.
is the cheddar and bacon Irish soda bread recipe.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Bacon and cheddar in soda bread.
Yeah, you have my attention.
Oh, I'm sold. But before we get too sidetracked by all this deliciousness,
Yeah.
I am curious.
Mm-hmm.
What's the significance of soda bread in Irish culinary tradition?
So soda bread is more than a recipe.
Okay.
It's a story of resourcefulness.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a time before readily available yeast or fancy ovens. People needed a way to bake bread
Yeah.
using simple ingredients.
Makes sense.
And that's where soda bread comes in.
Oh.
It relies on baking soda and buttermilk
Mm-hmm.
to create this wonderfully dense and flavorful bread.
It's really a testament to the ingenuity of the Irish people.
So it's like a taste of history,
It is.
baked right into the
Oh,
bread.
exactly.
I love that. It makes you appreciate the food
Mhm.
on a whole other level.
For sure.
Speaking of appreciation,
Okay.
the newsletter calls Ireland a foodie destination. Now, I know they're pretty enthusiastic about their home country,
Sure.
but do you think that's a fair assessment?
I do.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to a few things.
Okay.
First, the quality of ingredients is exceptional.
Right.
Ireland's known for its fertile land and pristine waters,
Mm-hmm.
which produce meats and seafood.
Yeah.
And then there's that blend of tradition and innovation.
Right.
We keep coming back to that.
Yeah.
It's a cuisine that respects its heritage but embraces new ideas.
It's like they found that sweet spot
They have.
between honoring the past
Mhm.
and forging this new culinary path.
Exactly. And I think there's one more element we can't overlook.
Okay, what's that?
It's that warmth and hospitality.
Okay.
associated with Irish culture.
For sure.
It's like they're welcoming you into their home
I love that.
and sharing a piece of their heart through each dish.
It adds a whole other dimension
It does.
to the experience.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And that's why I think Ireland deserves that foodie destination label.
Okay.
It's more than just the food.
Right.
It's the whole experience,
Yeah.
the culture and the stories woven into each bite.
I like that. Woven into each bite.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, when people think about foodie destinations,
Mm-hmm.
Ireland doesn't usually top the list.
Right.
But
yeah.
the more we talk about this, the more I think it should be.
Oh, it's definitely having a moment
Yeah.
on the culinary stage.
It is.
And the newsletter really captures this.
Yeah.
They talk about this vibrant food scene
Yeah.
that's taken root, blending age-old traditions with modern flavors.
And it's not just about fancy restaurants.
No.
No, definitely not. They talked about everything from these bustling food markets to trendy oyster trucks to pop-up eateries.
It's true. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, there's something for every taste and budget.
And what unites all these places
Yeah,
is that commitment to fresh local ingredients.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So speaking of local, let's talk about some specific dishes
All right.
that really highlight this blend of tradition and innovation.
Okay.
We've mentioned seafood,
Mm-hmm.
we've mentioned lamb,
Right.
but what are some must-try dishes
Okay.
for someone looking for that authentic Irish experience?
Well, you can't go wrong with an Irish stew.
Oh, yeah, classic.
It's hearty and comforting,
Yeah,
made with lamb or beef,
okay.
root vegetables, and a rich, flavorful broth.
Yeah, it's just like the definition of comfort food.
It is.
And I've heard great things about colcannon.
Oh, yeah.
Basically mashed potatoes with kale or cabbage mixed in.
That's it.
Sounds simple, but so good.
It is.
Yeah.
It's simple, but so good.
Yeah.
A perfect example of how Irish food takes simple ingredients
Yeah.
and makes them special.
It's true.
But, if you really want to experience the evolution of Irish cuisine,
Okay.
you got to look beyond the traditional dishes.
Oh, okay. Give me the inside scoop.
Right.
What's happening on the cutting ouch?
There's this movement of chefs
Okay.
who are taking those classic flavors
Mm-hmm.
and reinterpreting them with modern techniques. They're sourcing ingredients from local farms and foragers.
Wow.
They're experimenting with fermentation.
Nice.
And they're creating these dishes that are both visually stunning
Oh, wow.
and delicious.
So it's about showcasing those traditional recipes
Exactly.
in a new way.
In a new light.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it exciting.
It does.
You get these surprising combinations
Yeah.
that challenge your perceptions of what Irish food can be.
For our listeners planning a trip to Ireland,
Okay.
what are some specific places or experiences you would recommend?
All right, well, Dublin's a great starting point.
Yeah.
It's home to some incredible restaurants that are really pushing those boundaries.
Success.
But don't overlook those smaller towns and villages
That's a good point.
where you'll find those hidden gems.
Yeah.
Family-run pubs
Mm-hmm.
serving those traditional dishes, but with a modern twist.
Yeah. Sometimes the best experiences
They are.
are in those unexpected places.
Absolutely.
Right.
And if you're looking for something special,
Right.
you should consider visiting one of Ireland's food festivals.
Oh, fun.
They're a great way to sample local specialties,
Yeah.
meet the people behind the food,
Yeah.
and really immerse yourself in the culture.
It ties back to that earlier tip
It does.
about really immersing yourself.
Mm.
So cool.
Yeah.
But before we send our listeners off on their culinary adventure,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the sweeter side of Irish food.
Ah, yes. Desserts.
Yes.
Ireland has a wonderful tradition of baking,
Yeah.
using simple ingredients like fruit cream and spices.
Oh, and those delicious Irish cheeses.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard Irish cheddar is the best in the world.
Pretty good.
But let's talk about desserts.
Okay.
What are some traditional Irish sweets?
Okay, well, there's the classic apple tart,
Mm-hmm.
a warm and comforting dessert with a flaky crust and a sweet apple filling.
Classic.
And then there's barmbrack,
Okay.
a fruitcake served with tea.
Interesting.
It's popular around Halloween.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have to mention Guinness cake.
Oh, yeah, how could we forget?
Right.
That's a chocolate cake made with Guinness stout.
It might sound unusual, but I hear it's delicious.
It is.
Yeah.
The Guinness adds this bitterness
I'm-
that balances out the sweetness of the chocolate.
It's so cool how they incorporate those local ingredients in those unexpected ways.
Yeah.
So we've got savory dishes,
Mm-hmm.
sweet treats,
Mm-hmm.
bustling markets,
Mm-hmm.
innovative restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Irish food is a feast for the senses.
It is. And what makes it so captivating
Yeah?
is that it's both familiar and surprising. It's
Yeah.
comforting traditional elements, but then those unexpected twists
Right.
that keep us coming back for more.
It's like a culinary tapestry.
It is.
Woven with threads of history and innovation, and that warm Irish hospitality.
And then hospitality.
I think it's time to talk about the cultural significance of Irish food
Okay.
and how it reflects the history and identity of the country.
For sure.
Ready to explore that.
Absolutely. I think that's where the real magic is.
I could.
Understanding how food connects us to a place and its people.
So we've been on this amazing culinary journey
Yeah.
through Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
savoring all those great flavors.
Absolutely.
And we've uncovered a lot about the evolution of the food scene.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It has.
Really fascinating to see how food is like an archive of a
Yeah.
nation's story.
Right?
And in Ireland, those connections between food and history and identity,
Yeah.
they're just so intertwined.
Okay, so give me that history lesson
All right.
with a side of deliciousness.
Let's think back to that cheddar and bacon soda bread
Okay.
from the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
That simple recipe
Yeah.
says so much about the Irish people.
Hey, go
It's a tradition born out of necessity.
on.
They used readily available ingredients
Makes sense.
to create something that sustained generations.
Right, so it's more than just bread.
It is.
It's really a symbol of their resilience.
Mm-hmm. Their ability to thrive even when things are tough.
That's powerful.
And that resourcefulness, you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
In dishes like the Colcannon, where
Right.
they're taking simple potatoes and greens and making something hearty and comforting.
It's all about those local ingredients.
It is making the most of what the land provides.
Yeah, each ingredient has its own story.
That's true.
It's like a connection to the land and the people.
For sure. And as the food scene evolves, there's this
Right.
effort to preserve those stories,
Like sense.
to honor those traditions, but also embrace new ideas.
It's a balance.
It is a delicate balance.
It is. And it makes me wonder,
Yeah.
with all these modern influences coming in,
Mm-hmm.
is there a risk of losing
Right.
those traditional elements that make Irish food so special?
That's a great question, and it's a conversation happening everywhere.
Right.
But what I see in Ireland is a deep respect for their
Nice.
history, for their culinary heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Those classic dishes are still important.
Yeah.
They might be reimagined sometimes with new techniques,
Okay.
but they're never forgotten.
So it's not about getting rid of the old.
Right.
It's about evolving
Exactly.
and building on those traditions.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Yes.
where tradition and innovation can live together.
And even make each other better.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting.
It does.
For travelers and foodies, they get
Mhm.
to experience both sides.
So to sum it all up,
Okay.
what are the key takeaways we want our listeners to remember?
First, don't underestimate Ireland as a food destination.
Right.
It's so much more than just potatoes and Guinness.
I agree.
There's a real depth and variety there.
Yeah. And second,
Second, remember that food tells a story.
mm-hmm.
It reflects the history, the people, the culture.
yeah.
Really savor those flavors
Yeah.
and think about the stories behind them.
Kind of finally.
Be open to new experiences.
Yeah.
Embrace that evolution of Irish food.
Mm.
Find those hidden gems,
Mm.
whether it's a classic dish or something totally new.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of deliciousness out there.
I'm already planning my trip to Ireland.
Me too.
But in the meantime,
Yeah,
I might just try making that cheddar and bacon soda bread myself.
that's a great idea.
For our listeners,
Yeah.
what's the most surprising or memorable dish you've ever tried
Mm-hmm.
from a different culture?
I'd love to hear about it.
Share your thoughts.
Yeah.
Keep the conversation going.
Awesome.
Until next time, happy eating, everyone.